When I retired, I thought life would suddenly feel easier, slower mornings, fewer responsibilities, more time to do whatever I wanted. But within a few months, I felt lost. No clock to punch, no deadlines, no purpose. I realized that retirement isn't the finish line, it's the starting point of a new life. And if you're not careful, this beautiful chapter can become one of boredom, regret, or even health decline. So today, I'm sharing the 7 life-changing things I wish I had started the moment I retired. Some are simple, some are bold, but all of them can completely transform your post-retirement life. And I promise by the end, you'll see retirement in a way you never have before. Asterisk, I stopped working, but forgot to keep growing when I retired. I thought I had everything figured out. No more early alarms, no more deadlines, no more bosses or office politics. For the first few weeks, it felt like heaven. I slept in. I watched the morning news with a hot cup of tea. I caught up on years' worth of postponed household projects. For a while, it felt like I was living the dream. But then something strange started to happen. The excitement began to fade. The days started to blur together. I'd wake up, have breakfast, maybe putter around the house, and then wonder, what now? There were no meetings to prepare for, no goals to hit, no one counting on me to show up. And while I thought that freedom would feel exhilarating, it actually started to feel like drift. It hit me hardest one rainy afternoon. I was sitting on the couch, flipping channels mindlessly, and I realized I hadn't left the house all day. In fact, I hadn't talked to anyone either. I hadn't used my mind for anything other than deciding what to eat for lunch. My energy was low. My motivation was even lower. I remember thinking, is this what retirement is supposed to be? That's when it clicked. I had stopped working. Yes, but I had also stopped growing. And let me tell you, that's a dangerous trap many retirees fall into. We work our entire lives sharpening our minds, solving problems, learning skills, managing people, writing, leading, teaching, and then suddenly, one day, it all just ends. But the brain doesn't come with an off switch at retirement. It wants to keep going. It needs challenges, puzzles, ideas, and purpose to stay sharp. Without it, we become dull, not just mentally, but emotionally too. So I made a decision. I had to keep growing. I started learning again, but on my terms at first. I wasn't sure where to begin. Going back to school sounded intimidating. I didn't want grades, deadlines, or pressure. I just wanted to feel alive again, curious, engaged. So I gave myself one small goal. Learn one new thing every week. That's it. Sometimes it was simple. I watched a YouTube documentary on space travel. I learned about monarch butterflies. I picked up a book on ancient history. Other weeks I'd challenge myself more, learning a new app on my phone, joining a Zoom webinar, or even taking a free online course on healthy aging. And you know what happened? My mind woke up. I started feeling more connected to the world. I had things to talk about again, real conversations, not just complaints about the weather or aches and pains. I even started keeping a little notebook, a retirement learning log. I called it, every time I learned something new, I'd jot it down. After a few months I looked back and was amazed. I had learned more in that short time than I had in years of coasting. Then I got my hands dirty. Mental growth is one thing, but don't underestimate the power of learning with your hands. I'd always admired painters, but never picked up a brush. One day, on a whim, I bought a basic watercolor set from a craft store. I cleared off the kitchen table and started dabbling. The first few paintings were terrible, but I didn't care. I wasn't doing it to impress anyone. I was doing it to stretch my mind in a new direction. And here's the beauty of it. When you're retired, there's no deadline. You can take as long as you want to learn something new. There's no pressure to be perfect, only to be present. Whether it's painting, cooking new recipes, learning to play an instrument, or even planting a garden, the process of figuring something out again is like giving your brain a fresh coat of paint. Suddenly, colors look brighter. Time feels richer. Technology didn't leave me behind. I caught up now. I'll be honest, I used to be afraid of technology. Smartphones, apps, online banking. All of it felt like a foreign language. But then I realized something. The world isn't going to slow down for me. If I wanted to stay engaged, I had to learn to navigate this new landscape. So step by step, I taught myself. I watched YouTube tutorials. I asked my grandkids to teach me things. I started using a calendar app, joining video calls, even listening to podcasts while walking. And let me tell you, learning how to use technology actually opened up my world. I now join virtual book clubs, attend webinars, and keep in touch with friends all over the world. It's never too late, I promise you. Why this one shift changed everything. Once I made the choice to start growing again, everything changed. I woke up with more energy. My conversations became more engaging. I started feeling younger mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Even my memory improved. My doctor said that staying mentally active can actually help slow cognitive decline. That's not just a theory, it's science. I stopped drifting. I started directing my retirement. How you can start growing today. No pressure, no excuses. If you're feeling what I felt, restless, bored, uninspired, don't wait for the feeling to pass. It won't. You have to take action. Here's what I recommend. Pick one subject you're curious about. Health, history, gardening, anything. Spend 30 minutes this week learning about a knee in a book or from someone else. Write down one thing you learned each week. That notebook will become your treasure. Try one new hands-on activity per month, something you've never done before. It doesn't matter what age you are. Growth is not just for the young, it's for the willing. So yes, I retired, but I didn't retire from life. I didn't retire from learning, and neither should you. Because when you keep growing, you keep living. My body was retired too, and that was a problem when I retired. I thought I deserved to finally slow down. And to be honest, after decades of early mornings, stressful commutes, and long work hours, I did. I traded my work shoes for slippers, my briefcase for remote controls, and my calendar for empty mornings. At first, it felt good, peaceful, even, but over time, I noticed something I hadn't expected. My energy was slowly fading, not just physically, but mentally too. I started waking up tired, my joints ached more than usual. I found myself taking more naps but still feeling groggy. I'd go to the kitchen, then forget what I went for. My balance wasn't what it used to be, and stairs felt a bit more intimidating. And it wasn't just the passing of time. It was because my body had quietly joined me in retirement, and not in a good way. Retirement made me sit more. A lot more, let's be honest. Work, as exhausting as it was, kept us moving. Even if you worked at a desk, you probably had to walk between offices, carry things, or move throughout the day. You had structure, movement. But once I retired, I had no schedule. No need to go anywhere. I could easily spend half the day between my recliner and the kitchen. I thought I was resting, but I was really shrinking in strength, mobility, and motivation. And the body isn't made to sit still for too long. Muscles start to atrophy, bones lose density, blood flow slows down, and posture. Let's just say I started to resemble a question mark more than an exclamation point. Then came the warning signs. The subtle red flags. One morning, I bent down to tie my shoe and nearly tipped over. My balance felt off. Another day, I stepped off the curb and stumbled, not because it was high, but because my legs weren't reacting like they used to. And then, the real wake-up call. I struggled to open a pickle jar. That used to be a joke in our house, but it didn't feel funny anymore. That's when it hit me. Retirement had become a physical trap. If I didn't reclaim my body now, I might not get the chance later. So I made a vow. I didn't want to just grow old. I wanted to age with power, with steadiness, with dignity. And I couldn't do that sitting still. I started moving again, gently, but intentionally. I didn't jump into a boot camp or join a gym full of 20-somethings. That would have been a one-way ticket to injury. I started slow. Step 1. I walked every morning right after breakfast. I walked for 15 to 20 minutes. Nothing fancy, just around the neighborhood. I didn't walk for speed. I walked for rhythm. I moved my arms. I breathed deeply. I looked at the trees, listened to the birds, and slowly, my body started waking up. The first few weeks weren't easy. My knees were stiff, my hips creaked like an old door. But the more I walked, the more they loosened up. My blood started flowing better. I felt lighter. My posture improved. Then, I added light stretching, nothing too aggressive. Just 5 to 10 minutes after my walk, I focused on the areas that felt tight: my hamstrings, calves, shoulders, and lower back. I started standing taller. My back didn't hurt as much when I stood at the sink. And soon, I noticed something unexpected. My mind got sharper. Movement wasn't just waking up my muscles, it was waking up my brain. I had more mental clarity. I started remembering little things more easily. I was sleeping better at night and feeling more alert during the day. Gentle doesn't mean weak. One of the best decisions I made was adding balance and strength exercises to my weekly routine. You see, as we age, our fast-twitch muscles, the ones that help us react quickly, start to weaken. That's one reason falls become more dangerous. So, twice a week, I do these at home: standing leg raises, holding the back of a chair wall, push-ups, seated squats, using a sturdy chair. Toe stands for calf strength and balance. These may sound simple, but they've made a huge difference. My confidence while walking has returned. Stairs don't scare me anymore. And when I accidentally drop something, I can actually bend down to pick it up without groaning like a creaky old door. Movement helped my health in surprising ways. After a few months of consistent movement, something amazing started to happen. My blood pressure improved, my digestion got better, my blood sugar stabilized. Even my doctor was impressed. But it wasn't just about numbers. It was about freedom. I could go to the park with my grandkids without worrying if I'd keep up. I could carry groceries without panting. I could walk into a room without feeling invisible because I stood tall and walked proud, and that gave me something money can't buy: confidence. How I built a routine that actually lasts. I knew that if I treated movement like a chore, I'd quit. So I made it enjoyable, flexible, and part of my life, not a punishment. Here's what works for me: daily 20-minute walk with music, nature, or a friend. Stretching every other day, even if it's just on the living room floor. Strengthened balance workouts 2x a week. Using a simple routine I keep on a sticky note on the fridge. One fun movement a week, like dancing in the living room, gardening, or even bowling with friends. I don't aim for perfection. I aim for consistency, and if I miss a day, I don't beat myself up. I just pick it up again tomorrow. Final thoughts: retirement, docent. Mean your body gets to clock out too. Your body is your last career and it's a job you can love. One where the salary is mobility, health, independence, and energy. I used to think slowing down was part of aging, but now I know. Slowing down is optional. You can choose to stay active. You can choose to take your power back one walk, one stretch, one deep breath at a time. So, if you're like me, if you're feeling stiffer, slower, or more tired than you should, don't wait, start moving. Your body will thank you. I had time for everyone except myself. I remember the first Monday after I retired. No alarm, no rush, no briefcase by the door, just a quiet house and the luxury of time. And it was beautiful. For a while, the phone would ring. Someone needed help moving furniture. The grandkids had a school event, of course. I'd go. A friend needed a ride to the doctor. Sure, I could take them. Groceries, bills, home maintenance. Checking in on others, I was always available. Before I knew it, my retirement days were being filled, not by me, but by everyone else's needs. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my family, I love my friends. Being helpful gave me a sense of value. But slowly, subtly, something was happening behind the scenes. I was vanishing. I had time, but none of it was mine. There was one morning that finally made it clear. I had agreed to watch my neighbor's dog while they went on vacation. Then, I had a dentist appointment. After that, I had to pick up a prescription for my wife. Somewhere in between, I had to fix the bathroom faucet. By 5 p.m. I sat down at the kitchen table and realized I hadn't done one single thing that day for myself. Not a walk, not a cup of coffee in silence, not even a few pages from the book I'd been meaning to read. That's when it hit me. I had traded my career for caretaking. Without leaving room for self-care, I needed to make a change. Not a selfish one, but a necessary one. Because how can you give to others when you're not giving anything to yourself? The shift from selfless to self-aware, I started small. The next day, before I answered a single phone call or opened the front door, I brewed myself a cup of coffee and sat by the window. No news, no phone, just silence and sunlight, just me and the moment. At first it felt strange, indulgent even, but slowly, I began to realize something important. Taking time for yourself isn't stealing time from others. It's investing in your own stability so you can show up stronger, calmer and clearer for everyone else. I began blocking time in my day, not for tasks, not for people, but for myself. My me-time rituals that changed everything. They weren't elaborate. They didn't take hours, but they were mine, and they mattered. Morning silence. 20 minutes with my coffee and no interruptions. No agenda, just presence. Sometimes I'd write in a journal. Sometimes I'd watch the birds. Sometimes I'd just breathe. Solo walks, not power walks or exercise sessions. Just peaceful strolls, no one to entertain. No conversation to manage, just nature and my thoughts. Creative time. I started tinkering again. Little woodworking projects in the garage. Sketching. Even trying out recipes I found online. Nothing perfect, just play. Mindful minutes. I discovered short guided meditations on my phone. 5 minutes here and there. It was like pressing reset on my mood and stress levels. That these tiny pockets of time gave me back something I didn't know I'd lost. Myself. What happens when you reconnect with yourself? Here's what changed after I started prioritizing myself. My stress levels dropped. I wasn't so reactive. I could handle challenges more calmly. My energy improved. I stopped feeling drained by midday. My mood lifted. I laughed more. I felt lighter. My relationships actually got stronger. When I was centered, I became more present and more patient with the people I loved. Most importantly, I started looking forward to each day, not just enduring them. Why so many retirees struggle with this? I've met dozens of fellow retirees who fell into the same trap, giving and giving until they forgot who they were without the title of employee, spouse, parent, or volunteer. We're taught to be useful, productive, needed, but we're rarely taught how to just be ourselves, to value our own peace, hobbies, rest, and joy. And yet, after retirement, that becomes our most important job. If you don't define how you spend your time, someone else will. Practical tips to reclaim yourself after retirement here. What I recommend if you're struggling to find you. Time block. Personal time. Literally put it on your calendar. Even if it's just 30 minutes. Treat it like any other appointment. Don't cancel on yourself. Start with one ritual. Whether it's tea in the garden, an afternoon journal entry, or an evening bath. Anchor your day with something peaceful and personal. Say no without guilt. If a favor or commitment leaves no room for you to breathe, it's okay to say, not this time. Boundaries are a form of respect for yourself and others. Revisit old passions. What did you enjoy before life got so busy? Music, drawing, puzzles? Try bringing one back. Let your inner child out to play. Celebrate doing nothing. You don't have to be productive to be worthy. Some of the most healing moments are the quiet ones, where nothing gets done, and that's okay. A personal promise to myself now. I make a promise every week. At least one day, one activity, and 1 hour just for me. That time might not seem like much, but it fills my tank so I can give more to others, from a place of joy, not obligation. I'm not just retired from my job, I'm reconnected to myself. If you're feeling this too, if you're feeling drained even though you're free, if your days are full but your spirit feels empty, start with this. Ask yourself, what part of me have I been ignoring? Then listen, and give that part some time, space, and love. Because retirement isn't just about escaping stress. It's about coming home to yourself, and that's the most meaningful journey of all. Friendships fade unless you fight for them. I didn't expect it to happen. I had worked with people every day for over 40 years. Meetings, phone calls, hallway chats, Friday lunches. My days were filled with human interaction. I knew their birthdays, their grandkids' names, even what kind of coffee they liked. It was more than just work. It was connection. Then, I retired, and the phone got quieter. At first, it was just space. I figured people were giving me time to enjoy my retirement. But weeks passed, then months. And one afternoon, I scrolled through my phone, realizing I hadn't called anyone or been called for days, not because people stopped caring, but because when your environment changes, so do your connections, unless you fight to keep them. The quiet disappearance of friendship didn't happen all at once. Some friends were still working, too busy to meet up. Others moved away to be closer to family. A few were dealing with health issues or had become caregivers, and some I simply lost touch with. It wasn't anyone's fault. Life pulls people in different directions, but the result? I found myself spending more time with the TV than with people. And it hurt more than I admitted, because we humans aren't meant to live in isolation. Even introverts need community. And after retirement, your social muscles need just as much exercise as your physical ones. Loneliness isn't just emotional, it's biologically. Read a study that shocked me. Social isolation in seniors is linked to a higher risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, depression, and even early death. Yes, early death. From loneliness. We think we can tough it out, stay strong, keep quiet. But our minds and bodies know when we're disconnected. You start to feel irrelevant. You begin questioning your worth. And worst of all, you forget how good it feels to belong. That's when I realized I had to stop waiting for someone to call me. I had to start calling them, rebuilding my social circle one connection at a time. I made a commitment, one intentional social connection every day. It didn't have to be big, but it had to be real. Some days, it was a quick text to an old colleague just to say I was thinking of them. Other days, it was a phone call to a friend I hadn't seen in years. Once a week, I invited someone for coffee. No agenda, no reason, just connection. Was it awkward at first? Yes. Some conversations fizzled, others didn't respond. But slowly, my social world began to expand again. And what surprised me most? People were grateful. Many of them felt just as lonely, just as forgotten. They were just waiting for someone to reach out. I also found new people. Right in my community, friendships don't only come from the past, they can be born in the present too. So I pushed myself out of the house. I started attending community center events, local workshops, book clubs, at the library, gardening groups, volunteering opportunities. At first, I felt like an outsider. But with each meeting, I got more comfortable. I discovered something magical. People are still looking for connection at every age. I met a man who started painting after 70, a woman who plays ukulele at senior centers, a couple who hosts board game nights for retirees. They inspired me, they welcomed me, and they reminded me that connection isn't just about companionship, it's about inspiration. What I learned about friendship after 60, here's what I discovered. Friendship isn't automatic. It takes effort, scheduling, and courage. Small gestures matter. A birthday message, a funny meme. Hey, how are you? New friends can be just as valuable as old ones. The key is shared values, not shared history. Face-to-face is irreplaceable. Zoom is fine. Texting is great. But nothing beats a real cup of coffee, a handshake, a shared laugh. Consistency is connection. A monthly lunch, a walking partner, a weekly phone check-in. These rhythms keep relationships alive. I didn't need dozens of friends. I just needed a few real ones. Reconnecting with myself through others here. That's the part no one tells you. When you reconnect with others, you also reconnect with yourself. Because when you're laughing with a friend, you're not thinking about your aches, your past mistakes, or your age. You're just present. When you're helping someone else, your problems shrink, your purpose grows. And when someone says, "I'm glad you called," you remember that you matter. How you can start fighting for friendship today if you're feeling isolated, or even if you just want to strengthen your social life. Here's what worked for me. Make a list of 5 people you've lost touch with. Reach out to one per week. A call, a message, a card, anything. You'll be amazed at the doors that open. Schedule one social moment per week. A coffee date, a park walk, a local event. Block it on your calendar, like an appointment. Join something new. A class, a group, a team. Anything that puts you in a room with people who share your interests. Be the initiator. Don't wait for invitations. Be the one who reaches out. Others may be silently hoping for exactly that. Be open to all ages. Some of my most rewarding connections are with people much younger or older than me. Wisdom flows both ways. One conversation changed everything a few months ago. I met up with an old friend I hadn't seen in years. Over coffee, we shared stories, laughed, and even cried a little. At one point, he looked at me and said, "You know, I've really missed this. I didn't realize how much I needed it until right now." That moment stuck with me, because friendship isn't just nice. It's essential, especially in retirement. Final thought, friendship is a garden. Friendship, I've learned, is like a garden. If you stop watering it, weeds grow, things dry up. But if you tend it to even just a little bit, every day it blossoms into something beautiful. And here's the best part. It's never too late to plant new seeds. So go on, call that old friend, smile at that stranger, say yes to that invitation, or create one of your own, because retirement doesn't mean being alone. It means having the time to build the best relationships of your life. Planning for fun was the best investment I made when I first retired. I thought fun would just show up. I imagined lazy mornings, spontaneous day trips, and unlimited relaxation. No more Monday blues, no more meetings, no more fighting traffic. Finally, I was free. But strangely, after a few months, I wasn't having much fun at all. Yes, I had free time, but I didn't know what to do with it. I had lost the rhythm of anticipation. No upcoming events, no plans for the weekend, no circles on the calendar, just a blank page. And let me tell you something no one warned me about. Freedom without direction becomes emptiness. What I needed, what I craved, was not just time, it was joy. But joy doesn't just happen by accident. It has to be planned for, just like you once planned your meetings, your family vacations, or your retirement savings. That's when I discovered something that completely changed my retirement. Fun is an investment, and it pays out in energy, excitement, and emotional health. How I began scheduling joy? Yes, actually scheduling it. The idea felt silly at first. I mean, do grown adults really need to schedule fun? Isn't fun supposed to be spontaneous? But the truth is, during our working years, all of our fun was scheduled. Friday night dinners, summer vacations, Saturday sports, with the kids' holiday parties. We were so used to planning our fun, we didn't even realize we were doing it. So in retirement, I started doing it again, intentionally. Every Sunday evening, I'd take out a simple paper calendar and write down one thing every few days that I could look forward to. It didn't have to be big, just something I enjoyed. Monday morning, walk in the park. Wednesday, try a new recipe. Friday, movie night, even just at home. Sunday, breakfast with an old friend. That little act of planning gave my week structure, rhythm, and most of all, excitement. Why fun? It is more than just enjoyment. It's medicine. I used to think of fun as a luxury, something you do when everything else is done. Now I know. Fun is survival. It recharges your nervous system. It improves mental clarity. It even helps regulate your immune response. When I started scheduling small joys into my week, I noticed I laughed more and more deeply, I slept better, I felt more optimistic in the mornings, I had something to talk about with people again. Fun gave me a sense of youth, not because it made me younger, but because it made me feel alive again. Rediscovering old joys and finding new ones. Here's what surprised me. Once I started looking for joy, I began finding it everywhere. I dusted off an old guitar I hadn't played in 30 years. My fingers fumbled, but my spirit soared. I signed up for a beginner's pottery class. Me, a 67-year-old man, learning how to shape a lump of clay. I felt like a kid again. I even joined a community choir. I wasn't the best singer, but being surrounded by harmony lit a spark I didn't know I had. And then came the adventures I never saw coming. Volunteering at a local animal shelter, the puppies healed my heart. Traveling solo to a nearby city, just to explore its history. Hosting themed dinners with friends. Italian night was a hit. These weren't expensive things. They weren't elaborate, but they were mine. And they made me feel like retirement wasn't just the end of work, it was the beginning of adventure. The trap of passive entertainment. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with TV, crossword puzzles, or scrolling the news. But here's the trap I fell into for a while. I confused distraction with delight. Distraction numbs you. Delight wakes you up. After a few weeks of binge-watching shows, I didn't feel energized. I felt tired, sluggish, even a little empty. That's when I learned to ask myself, did this activity light me up, or just fill the time? When you retire, your time becomes your wealth. How you spend it matters. Passive fun has a place, but active fun, creative fun, social fun, that's what fuels you. How I make fun a priority, without feeling guilty. Believe it or not, a lot of retirees feel guilty for having fun. We spent our lives working, sacrificing, caring for others. Taking time for ourselves, even just for joy, can feel selfish. But here's what I remind myself every day. I've earned this time. Joy keeps me healthy. Laughter is medicine. Fun makes me a better friend, partner, and grandparent. So now, I don't apologize for planning fun. I treat it like a vital part of my wellness plan. How you can start planning fun today. Want to bring joy back into your retirement? Here's how I did it. Make a joy list. Write down 20 things, big or small, that bring you joy. Cooking, gardening, visiting the beach, playing cards, dancing in the kitchen. Then post that list on the fridge. Start a fun calendar. Pick one joyful activity every few days and write it down. Visual anticipation matters. Create weekly themes. One week could be try something new week. Another could be reconnect with nature week. It gives your days a sense of adventure. Involve others. Joy is contagious. Invite a friend or family member to join your fun. It creates memories and accountability. Celebrate spontaneity. Sometimes, the best fun is unplanned. Leave space in your week for surprises, last-minute invitations, or sunny day getaways. The best investment I ever made. Looking back, I spent decades investing in stocks, savings, and property. And I'm grateful I did. But the best investment I've made in retirement was in fun. It gave me energy when I felt tired. It gave me connection when I felt isolated. It gave me purpose when the calendar looked empty. It gave me life when everything else felt quiet. Because here's the truth. Retirement isn't about resting. It's about rising. Rising into the best version of yourself. The happiest, most playful, most authentically joyful version of who you were always meant to be. Closing words. So yes, I started planning for fun. And in doing so, I started planning for life. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Don't wait for joy to find you. Go out and find it. Make room for it. Invite it in. You've earned it. Because the real secret of retirement isn't having more time. It's knowing how to fill that time with the moments that matter most.